The great war fleets of the Vulcan Empire moved through space like hungry sharks. Their massive ships gleamed with metal armor that could stop planet-killing weapons. Inside the command bridge of the flagship Devastator, Warlord Thexmar studied the star maps with his 6 eyes. Each eye was the size of a human head, glowing red in the dim light. "Report," Thexmar commanded. His voice was deep and rough like grinding stone. Captain Vextar bowed his scaled head. "My lord, our scouts have found 3 more dead colonies." The humans struck again. 17 of our ships destroyed. No survivors. Thexmar's claws scraped against the metal table. For 3,000 years, the 5 great powers had ruled the galaxy. The Vulcan Empire controlled the northern arms with their bio-enhanced warriors. The Christine hegemony held the core worlds with their energy weapons. The brutal Drakmori clans dominated through fear and numbers. The Scion Collective used their mind powers to control vast fleets. The mechanical forge masters built armies of war robots. No one had ever challenged them. No one dared until now. "How many ships did the humans use?" Thexmar asked. "Our best guess is 12, my lord. Maybe 15, Thexmar roared. His bio-enhanced muscles bulged under his armor. 15 human ships had destroyed 17 Vulcan warships. Each Vulcan ship carried 500 warriors. The humans should have been crushed like insects. What weapons did they use? Captain Vextar looked uncomfortable. "Chemical explosives, my lord. Kinetic rounds. Primitive missiles. Impossible." Thexmar's voice was a growl. "No primitive species can defeat Vulcan biotechnology," but the reports kept coming. Human raiders struck without warning. They hit supply depots, communication stations, and isolated outposts. They used simple weapons that should not have worked against advanced alien defenses. Yet somehow they won every time. Far across the galaxy on a small blue planet called Earth, Commander Park Taiho sat in his office reading similar reports. The Earth Defense Force headquarters was built into a mountain in South Korea. The walls were concrete and steel, nothing like the advanced materials used by alien civilizations. Park Taiho was 45 years old with gray streaks in his black hair. He had spent 20 years preparing Earth's defenses against alien invasion. Most people thought he was paranoid. Earth was too small, too primitive to interest the great powers. The reports on his desk proved them wrong. "Sir," Lieutenant Cho Youngman knocked on the door. "You asked to see the latest intelligence. Come in." Park Taeho rubbed his tired eyes. "What do we know?" 3 more human colonies have gone silent. The mining station on Kepler 442b reported an attack, but they fought off the raiders. Security footage shows 1 man defeated an entire boarding party. Park Taeho looked up. "1 man?" "Yes, sir." Lee Jinho, a former Navy SEAL working as a security contractor. He used improvised weapons and guerrilla tactics. The footage is impressive. Park Taeho had served in the Korean military before joining the Earth Defense Force. He knew good soldiers when he saw them. "Send me the file, and get me everything we know about these colony attacks." Young Min hesitated. "Sir, there's something else." Long-range sensors detected alien fleet movements. Multiple species heading toward the outer colonies. "How many ships?" "At least 1,000, sir. Maybe more." Park Taeho felt cold fear in his stomach. Earth's entire defense fleet had maybe 50 ships. They were newer and faster than anything humanity had built before, but they were still primitive compared to alien technology. "Alert all colonial governors. Tell them to prepare for siege conditions, and get Admiral Kim Soo-jin on the secure channel." On the other side of the galaxy, in a massive space station that orbited the Christine homeworld, 4 other warlords received the same disturbing news. The Christine hegemony's leader, Overlord Kisthera, floated in a tank of glowing liquid. Her crystalline body pulsed with energy as she spoke. "The humans grow bolder," she said. Her voice rang like singing crystal. "They have destroyed 12 of my energy collectors." Clan Chief Mordak of the Drakmori snarled. He was 8 feet tall with thick muscles and scarred skin. "My warriors fear nothing, but these humans fight like demons. They use the shadows, strike without warning, disappear like ghosts." The Scion Collective spoke with one voice through their representative, Mind Link Prime Zeftos. "Our mental probes cannot locate their command structure. They think differently than other species. Their minds are chaotic." The 5th member of their group said nothing. Forgemaster Unit 01 was a machine built for war. Its red optical sensors scanned endless data streams. "Human tactics show 97.3% efficiency against standard galactic military doctrine," it finally announced. "Enough," Overlord Kisthera's voice cut through the discussion. We have ruled for 3 millennia. We will not be challenged by primitive mammals. Then what do you propose? Asked Clan Chief Mordak. We end this quickly. A combined strike on their home system. Overwhelming force. Show the galaxy what happens to those who defy us. The other warlords nodded agreement. They had never worked together before. Ancient hatreds kept them fighting each other for territory and resources. But the human threat changed everything. If one primitive species could successfully resist them, others might try. How many ships? Asked MindLink Prime Zeftos. All of them, Kisthera replied. Every fleet, every warship, every battle station. We crush Earth completely, leave no survivors, no witnesses. Forgemaster Unit 001 calculated quickly. Combined fleet strength, 10,847 warships. Human defense fleet, approximately 50 vessels. Victory probability, 99.97%. And the 0.03%? Clan Chief Mordak asked. Margin of error in calculations, insignificant. Back on Earth, Park Tae-ho finished reading the security footage report from Kepler 442b. Lee Jin-ho had fought like a man possessed. Using only a plasma torch and some mining explosives, he had eliminated 8 alien raiders in zero-gravity combat. The tactics were textbook special forces adapted for space warfare. Get me Admiral Kim Soo-jin, Park Tae-ho ordered, and prepare a fast courier ship for Kepler 442b. We need to talk to this Lee Jin-ho. He looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere out there, alien fleets were gathering. Earth's colonial defenders were fighting impossible odds with primitive weapons and winning. But their luck would not last forever. The greatest military powers in galactic history were moving. 10,000 warships commanded by beings who had conquered entire star systems. They were coming to Earth to end the human threat once and for all. Park Tae-ho had spent his career preparing for this moment. Now he wondered if any preparation would be enough. The Devastator hung in space like a metal mountain. Inside its vast command chamber, Warlord Thexmar waited for his enemies to arrive. For the first time in 3,000 years, the 5 great powers would meet in the same place. They were still enemies, but they shared a common threat now. The first to arrive was Overlord Kisthera. Her crystal ship looked like a giant jewel that bent light around itself. She floated in her energy tank, her body glowing with power. Behind her came 12 smaller ships, each one crackling with deadly energy weapons. Thexmar. She spoke through the communication system. Her voice sounded like music made of ice. Your message was most urgent. Wait for the others, Thexmar replied. His bio-enhanced body was tense. Even meeting like this could be a trap. Any one of them might try to eliminate the others. Clan Chief Mordak arrived next. His ships looked like flying fortresses covered in armor and weapons. The Drakmori loved to fight, and their vessels showed it. Scars from 1,000 battles marked their hulls. Mordak himself was massive, even for his species. Battle scars covered his thick hide. This better be worth my time, Velkin, Mordak growled over the communication channel. My warriors grow restless. They want to fight something. You will have your fight soon enough, Thexmar promised. The Scion Collective arrived without warning. One moment the space was empty. The next moment 30 sleek ships appeared. They moved in perfect formation, controlled by linked minds across the galaxy. MindLink Prime Zeftos spoke for all of them. We sense great disturbance in the mental plane, Zeftos said. The human minds burn with strange fire. They think in patterns we cannot predict. Finally, the Forge Masters came. Their ships were geometric nightmares of metal and weapons. Each vessel was also a factory, building more weapons and warriors even as they traveled. Forgemaster Unit 001 commanded the fleet with cold machine logic. All primary units present, Unit 01 announced, initiating security protocols. No hostile actions detected. The 5 warlords faced each other in the center of Thexmar's command chamber. Each one could destroy entire star systems. They had fought each other for millennia, carving up the galaxy between them. Now they needed each other. Show them, Thexmar commanded his aide. A holographic display activated in the center of the room. It showed star maps with red dots marking destroyed facilities. Supply depots, communication stations, mining colonies, research outposts. Dozens of red dots spread across multiple sectors. Human attacks, Thexmar explained. Small units using primitive weapons. They strike without warning and disappear. Overlord Kisthera studied the display. Impossible. No species this primitive should possess such tactical ability. Yet they do, Clan Chief Mordak said. His scarred face showed grudging respect. My best warriors have fallen to human ambushes. They fight like the spirits of ancient wars. Mind Link Prime Zeftos nodded slowly. We have tried to penetrate their command structure through mental contact. Their thoughts are shielded somehow. Not through technology, but through pure determination. Forge Master Unit 001 processed the data quickly. Pattern analysis indicates coordinated strikes across 47 systems. Estimated human force size 200-300 individuals maximum. Casualty ratio 127 alien deaths per human loss. The number hung in the air like a curse. These primitive humans were killing aliens at a rate that should have been impossible. How do they do it? Overlord Kizathera asked. Thexmar activated another display. Security footage showed human attacks from different angles. The aliens watched as small groups of humans moved through alien facilities like deadly shadows. They used simple weapons with devastating effect. Chemical explosives destroyed advanced shielding. Kinetic weapons penetrated bioarmor. Basic tactics defeated sophisticated defenses. They study us, Thexmar explained. Learn our weaknesses. Adapt to our strengths. Most importantly, they never surrender. Even when trapped, they fight until death. Clan Chief Mordek leaned forward. His warrior instincts recognized something in the humans. They fight with honor. No retreat, no mercy for themselves or their enemies. Honor will not save them from superior firepower, Overlord Kisthara said coldly. We end this now. Combined assault on their home system. Agreed, said the other warlords together. Meanwhile, on the mining station orbiting Kepler 442b, Li Jinho cleaned his tools after another long shift. The plasma torch still smelled like burned metal from the repairs he had finished. Around him, other miners went about their daily work, unaware that alien fleets were gathering across the galaxy. Li was 38 years old with calloused hands and steady eyes. He had served 10 years as a Navy SEAL before retiring to civilian life. The mining work was boring compared to military operations, but it paid well and kept him busy. The station alarm suddenly blared through the corridors. Red lights flashed as the emergency signal echoed off metal walls. All personnel to emergency stations, the captain announced over the intercom. Unknown ships approaching. This is not a drill. Li dropped his tools and ran toward the security office. His military training took over automatically. Other miners panicked, but Li moved with purpose. In the security office, he found Captain Song Mirai studying the sensor displays. What do we have? Li asked. Captain Song looked up. She knew about Li's military background and trusted his judgment. 8 ships, unknown configuration. They're not responding to communication attempts. Li studied the display. The ships moved in formation, their approach vector designed to cut off escape routes. Pirates. Professional ones. They know what they're doing. We have 2 security guards and a cargo shuttle, Captain Song said. Against 8 warships. Li was already moving toward the weapons locker. Get everyone into the emergency shelters. Seal all internal bulkheads, and give me access to the station's maintenance systems. Li, you can't fight 8 ships by yourself. Li checked the plasma torch and grabbed a bag of mining explosives. I'm not fighting their ships. I'm fighting their boarding parties. The alien raiders docked with the station 20 minutes later. They cut through the hull with advanced tools and poured into the corridors. 12 warriors in powered armor, armed with energy weapons and bio-enhancements. They expected terrified miners. Instead, they found a nightmare. Li had turned the mining station into a death trap. He used the maintenance tunnels to move unseen through the station. Plasma torches became cutting weapons. Mining explosives became shaped charges. The station's own systems became weapons in his hands. The raiders split into teams to search for prisoners. Li picked them off one by one. A plasma torch through a helmet joint, an explosive charge in a ventilation shaft. A maintenance robot reprogrammed to explode when touched. In 30 minutes, 12 elite alien warriors were dead. Li Jinho stood alone in the cargo bay, covered in alien blood and breathing hard. Around him lay the bodies of beings who had conquered star systems. The security cameras recorded everything. 2 days later, Admiral Kim Soo-jin watched the footage in her office aboard the Earth Defense Force flagship. She had seen many battles in her 20-year career, but nothing like this. One man with basic tools had eliminated an entire alien boarding party. Get me a secure channel to Commander Park Tae-ho, she ordered her aide. And prepare my personal ship. I'm going to Kepler 442b. She looked at the star charts showing alien fleet movements. Thousands of enemy ships were moving toward human space. Earth needed every advantage it could find, and maybe, just maybe, they had found one in a former Navy SEAL who refused to surrender. Admiral Kim Soo-jin's personal ship dropped out of hyperspace near Kepler 442b, 3 days after the attack. The mining station still showed scorch marks from the alien raiders' cutting tools. Emergency lights flickered in the damaged sections where Lee Jin-ho had fought his one-man war. Kim Soo-jin was 52 years old with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had commanded Earth's defense fleets for 8 years, preparing for a war most people thought would never come. Now that war was almost here, and she needed every weapon she could find. The station's docking bay was crowded with repair crews and investigators. Kim Soo-jin walked through the corridors where the battle had happened, studying the blast marks and alien bloodstains. Her aide, Commander Ryu Dong-hyun, followed behind with a datapad. 12 alien raiders, Commander Ryu reported. Elite soldiers with advanced armor and energy weapons. All killed by one man using mining tools. Where is he now? Kim Soo-jin asked. Cargo Bay 7. Captain Song says he's been working double shifts since the attack. Won't talk about what happened. Kim Soo-jin found Lee Jin-ho welding a damaged support beam. The plasma torch in his hands moved with steady precision, sealing the metal like an artist painting. He was covered in sweat and metal dust, but his hands never shook. Lee Jin-ho, she called out. Lee turned off the torch and looked at her. He recognized the Admiral's uniform immediately. His military training made him stand straighter, but he didn't salute. He was a civilian now. Admiral, Lee said simply. I watched the security footage. Impressive work, Lee shrugged. Just doing my job. Your job is mining. What you did was warfare, the kind of warfare we're going to need very soon. Lee set down the plasma torch and wiped his hands on a dirty rag. I heard about the alien fleets gathering. Everyone's talking about it. Then you know Earth needs soldiers, good ones. The best we have. I'm retired, Admiral. Kim Soo-jin activated a holographic display from her wrist computer. It showed star maps with red dots marking destroyed colonies. 47 human settlements attacked in the past 6 months. Thousands dead. The aliens are testing us, learning our defenses. Lee studied the map. His military mind automatically looked for patterns. Hit-and-run attacks. They're probing for weak points. Yes. And soon they'll stop probing and start a full invasion. We estimate 10,000 enemy ships heading for Earth. The number hit Lee like a physical blow. Earth's entire defense fleet had maybe 50 ships. That's impossible odds. Unless we change the rules of the game. Kim Soo-jin moved closer. I need a team. Small, fast, deadly. The kind of team that can strike at enemy supply lines and command ships. Turn their strength against them. Lee was quiet for a long moment. He looked around the cargo bay where he had killed 12 alien warriors. The bloodstains were still there, dark marks on the metal floor. If I agree, I pick my own team, he said finally. Done. And we do this my way. No interference from Fleet Command. Kim Soo-jin nodded. What do you need? 4 people. All Korean Special Forces veterans. And a fast ship with good stealth systems. 2 weeks later, Lee's team gathered aboard the stealth corvette Shadow Runner in Earth orbit. The ship was new, built with the latest human technology and captured alien equipment. It was small compared to alien warships, but it was fast and nearly invisible to most sensors. Lee had chosen his team carefully. Choi Min-hyuk was an explosives expert who could build bombs from household chemicals. At 35, he was the oldest member after Lee, with graying temples and steady nerves that never cracked under pressure. Han Yuna was 29, and the best sniper Lee had ever seen. She could hit targets at impossible ranges in zero gravity. Her quiet voice never showed the killer instinct that made her deadly in combat. Yang Kyung-ho specialized in close-quarters combat. At 32, he was built like a tank with muscles that could crush alien bones. But his real weapon was his mind, which calculated angles and timing faster than most computers. The youngest was Baek Ji-won, 27 years old, and a genius with electronics. She could hack alien communication systems and jam their sensors. Her small size hid a fierce determination that matched any warrior. Our first mission, Lee explained to his team in the briefing room, is to investigate the Ross 128B colony. It was destroyed 3 days ago. Fleet intelligence wants to know how. Choi Min-hyuk studied the mission files. Colony had 500 people. Defensive satellites, shield generators, marine garrison. All destroyed in 6 hours, Han Yuna added. No survivors. Yang Kyung-ho cracked his knuckles. What kind of force can do that? The kind we're about to face, Lee replied. But maybe we can learn something from how the colonists fought back. The Shadowrunner jumped to hyperspace, carrying Lee's team toward their first mission. Behind them, Earth's defense fleets prepared for the largest invasion in human history. Meanwhile, in the command chamber of the Devastator, Warlord Thexmar received troubling reports from his fleet commanders. The attack on Ross 128b had succeeded, but the cost was higher than expected. 60% casualties, Captain Vextar reported. The human defenders fought like mad creatures. They destroyed their own facilities rather than let us capture them. Thexmar's claws scraped against his command throne. How many humans? Perhaps 200 Marines and militia. They destroyed 43 of our ships. The numbers were impossible. 200 humans with basic weapons should not have been able to destroy 43 Vulcan warships. Yet the reports kept coming from other attacks. Human defenders fighting to the death, using tactics that made no sense but somehow worked. Double the attack force for the next target, Thexmar ordered, and send word to the other warlords. The humans are more dangerous than we thought. The Shadowrunner dropped out of hyperspace at Ross 128b 24 hours later. The colony was gone, replaced by a field of debris and wreckage. Alien ships floated dead in space, their hulls cracked open like broken eggs. Look at this, Baek Ji-won said from her sensor station. The colonists rigged their fusion reactor to overload, took out half the attacking fleet when it exploded. Lee studied the tactical display. The human defenders had used their orbital platforms as weapons, ramming them into enemy ships. The Marine garrison had fought from prepared positions, making the aliens pay for every meter of ground. They knew they were going to die, Han Yuna said quietly, but they made it count, Lee nodded. The colonists had bought time with their lives, sending a message to Earth about alien tactics and weaknesses. Now his team had to make sure that sacrifice meant something. Scan everything, he ordered. Wreckage, debris, battle records. I want to know exactly how these people fought, because we're going to need every advantage we can get. The Shadowrunner began its investigation while thousands of light years away. The greatest armada in galactic history continued its march toward Earth. The final battle was coming, and humanity would need more than courage to survive. The wreckage of Ross 128b told a story written in twisted metal and alien blood. Lee's team spent 3 days scanning every piece of debris, downloading data from damaged computers and analyzing battle patterns. What they found changed everything. The colonists weren't alone, Baek Ji-won announced from her workstation aboard the Shadowrunner. Look at these communication logs. They received help from something called Phantom Team 7. Lee leaned over her shoulder to study the data. Phantom Team 7? Unknown unit. Not listed in any Earth Defense Force records, but they provided tactical support during the attack. Helped coordinate the colony's defenses. Choi Min-hyuk looked up from the explosive residue he was analyzing. These blast patterns aren't from colonial weapons. Someone else was here. Someone who knew how to use alien technology against itself. Han Yuna had been studying the wreckage through her rifle scope. Sniper positions on the outer asteroids. Professional work. Whoever did this took out alien commanders at extreme range. Yang Kyung-ho was examining battle damage on recovered alien armor. Close quarters fighting too. These cuts are from human weapons, but the technique is military special forces. Lee felt pieces of a puzzle clicking together in his mind. There are other teams out there, operating behind enemy lines. Teams Earth doesn't know about. A priority message interrupted their investigation. Admiral Kim Soo-jin's face appeared on the main screen, her expression grim. Lee, we have a problem. Long-range sensors show the main alien fleet has started moving. 10,000 ships, all 5 species. Estimated arrival at Earth in 42 days. Copy that, Admiral. Any change in our mission? Yes. Intelligence has identified the alien command structure. 5 super dreadnoughts, 1 for each warlord. If you can take out their leadership, the alliance might collapse. Lee studied the tactical data Kim Soo-jin transmitted. Each enemy flagship was the size of a small moon, protected by thousands of escort ships. That's a suicide mission, Admiral. I know, but it might be our only chance. The fleet will do what it can, but we're outnumbered 200 to 1. After Kim Soo-jin signed off, Lee's team sat in silence. They were good soldiers, but 5 people could not possibly attack 10,000 ships. Maybe we don't have to, Baek Ji-won said suddenly. These phantom teams, if they're still out there, maybe we can find them. Lee made his decision. Set course for the Proxima system. If there are ghost teams operating in that sector, we'll find them. The Proxima system had been hit twice in the past month. Both attacks had shown the same pattern: small human forces inflicting massive damage on alien fleets. The Shadowrunner approached carefully, using full stealth protocols. They found the ghost team hiding in an asteroid field on the system's edge. Staff Sergeant Oh Hyunwoo commanded a team of 6 soldiers operating from a modified cargo ship. Their vessel looked like space junk, but it carried enough firepower to take on a cruiser. Oh Hyunwoo was 40 years old with scars on his face and eyes that had seen too much death. He greeted Lee's team with professional wariness. "You're not fleet intelligence," he said. "Who are you?" "People like you," Lee replied. "Fighting a war the brass doesn't understand." Oh Hyunwoo relaxed slightly. "You know about Project Phantom? Tell me." Oh Hyunwoo led them to his ship's tiny briefing room. The walls were covered with star charts and alien ship specifications. 18 months ago, Earth military intelligence started a black project. Trained small teams for deep penetration missions behind alien lines. We were supposed to gather intelligence and conduct sabotage operations. What happened? The project command ship was destroyed 6 months ago. All official records were lost. The surviving teams were left to operate independently. Oh Hyunwoo's voice was bitter. "We've been fighting a ghost war ever since. No support, no resupply, no extraction." Choi Min-hyuk studied the charts on the wall. "How many teams are left?" "Maybe a dozen. Scattered across the galaxy. We've learned to live off captured alien supplies and equipment." Lee understood now. These phantom teams were the source of the mysterious human attacks that had the alien warlords so worried. Small units using captured technology and intimate knowledge of alien weaknesses. "What do you know about their command structure?" Lee asked. Oh Hyunwoo activated a holographic display showing the 5 alien flagships. Each warlord commands from a super dreadnought. The ships stay in formation, protected by overlapping shields and escort fleets, but they have to communicate with each other to coordinate their forces. And communication means vulnerability. If you can get inside their network, you can feed them false information, make them think their allies are betraying them. Han Yuna looked interested. The alliance is new. They don't trust each other. Exactly. 3,000 years of warfare doesn't disappear overnight. Start a rumor about betrayal and they'll do our work for us. Lee felt the plan forming in his mind. It was crazy, dangerous, and probably impossible, but it might work. "We need to get inside one of their command ships," he said. "Plant false intelligence that makes them suspicious of each other." Oh Hyunwoo laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Just walk up to a super dreadnought and knock on the door?" "Something like that." Lee turned to his team. "How would you do it?" Yang Kyung-ho cracked his knuckles. "Captured alien shuttle. Fake a prisoner transfer." Baek Ji-won nodded. "I can hack their communication protocols. Make the paperwork look legitimate." "And once we're inside?" Han Yuna asked. "We plant evidence that the other warlords are planning to eliminate their allies after Earth falls." Lee explained. "Let paranoia do the rest." Choi Min-hyuk was already calculating explosive charges. "We'll need a distraction. Something big enough to cover our escape." Oh Hyunwoo studied the plan with professional interest. "It's insane, but it might work. My team can provide the distraction. We've been hitting supply convoys for months. One more attack won't surprise them." "What about the main fleet?" Han Yuna asked. "Even if the warlords turn on each other, there are still thousands of ships heading for Earth." Lee looked at the tactical displays showing the approaching alien armada. "Then we better make sure they're too busy fighting each other to attack Earth. The next phase of their mission would require perfect timing, absolute stealth, and a great deal of luck." Lee's team had all 3 in the past, but they had never attempted anything this ambitious. "When do we start?" Oh Hyunwoo asked. "Now," Lee replied. "We have 38 days before they reach Earth. Time to turn the galaxy's greatest military alliance into its worst nightmare." The 2 teams began planning the most audacious operation in human military history. They would infiltrate the enemy flagship, plant false intelligence, and escape before anyone noticed they were there. It sounded impossible. But then again, most people would have said it was impossible for humans to fight alien technology and win. Lee's team had been proving people wrong for months. Time to do it again. The captured alien shuttle looked exactly like a Drakmori prisoner transport. Baek Ji-won had spent 2 weeks modifying its systems and forging identification codes. From the outside, It appeared to carry a single human prisoner and a Drakmori guard escort. The prisoner was Lee Jinho, wearing stolen alien restraints and fake wounds that looked convincing on security scans. The guard escorts were actually his team, wearing captured Drakmori armor that barely fit their human bodies. Remember, Lee spoke quietly into his concealed communicator. We have maybe 6 hours before someone realizes the real transport ship never arrived. After that, every alien in the fleet will be hunting us. The Devastator filled their view screen like a metal mountain. The super dreadnought was 20 kilometers long and bristled with enough weapons to crack a planet. Around it, thousands of escort ships moved in perfect formation. Incoming transmission, Han Yuna reported from the pilot's seat. Her voice was distorted by the alien helmet she wore. They're requesting identification. Baek Ji-won activated the forged codes she had created. Transmitting now. Prisoner transfer from Sector 7. High-value human operative captured during the Ross 128 attack. A few tense seconds passed. Then the alien traffic controller responded. Cleared for docking. Bay 17. Deliver prisoner to interrogation level. The shuttle slipped through the Devastator's shields and landed in the massive hangar bay. All around them, alien fighters and assault ships prepared for the coming invasion of Earth. Thousands of Velkan warriors moved through the corridors, their bio-enhanced bodies ready for war. Lee's team moved carefully through the ship's corridors. The Devastator was a maze of passages and chambers designed for beings twice their size. Everything was built for intimidation. Sharp angles, dark lighting, and the constant sound of weapons powering up. Interrogation level is 40 decks down, Baek Ji-won whispered, consulting the ship plan she had downloaded. But we need to get to the command center. Yang Kyung-ho studied the guards they passed. Security is lighter than expected. They think they're safe behind their own lines. Overconfidence, Lee murmured. We can use that. They took a service elevator to the command levels, posing as guards transporting a prisoner. The few aliens they encountered paid them no attention. After 3,000 years of ruling the galaxy, the Warlords' security had become routine and predictable. The command center was a vast chamber filled with tactical displays and communication stations. Warlord Thexmar stood at the center, studying holographic star maps. His 6 eyes tracked fleet movements while his claws traced attack vectors toward Earth. Status report, Thexmar commanded. All fleets maintaining formation, Captain Vextar replied. Estimated arrival at Earth in 31 days. Lee's team hid in an observation alcove above the command center. From there, they could see the entire operation. Hundreds of aliens coordinated the movements of 10,000 ships, the largest military force in galactic history. There, Baek Ji-won pointed to a communication console. That's the primary data hub. If I can access it, I can plant false intelligence in their system. How long do you need? Lee asked. 20 minutes, maybe 30. Lee nodded to his team. Choi, start setting charges on the power relays. When this goes bad, we need to create confusion. Yang, watch the main entrance. Han, cover the secondary exits. While his team moved into position, Lee studied Warlord Thexmar. The alien commander was massive, his bio-enhanced body designed for combat. But Lee noticed something else. Tension in the way Thexmar held himself. The Warlord was worried about something. A new holographic display activated, showing communication links to the other 4 Warlords. Overlord Kisthara's crystal form glowed with energy. Clan Chief Mordak's scarred face looked eager for battle. Mindlink Prime Zefto spoke for the Scion Collective, while Forge Master Unit 001 provided cold machine logic. Report on human resistance, Thexmar demanded. Minimal, Overlord Kisthara replied. Their frontier colonies have been eliminated. Earth's defense fleet is too small to matter. What about the ghost attacks? Clan Chief Mordak asked. My warriors still report human raiders hitting supply convoys. Isolated incidents, Forge Master Unit 001 stated. Probability of significant impact, 0.03%. But Lee could see that Thexmar wasn't convinced. The Velkan warlord had lost too many ships to human raiders. He suspected his allies were lying about their own losses. Begin the operation, Lee whispered into his communicator. Oh, Hyun-woo's Phantom team struck first. 3 star systems away, they attacked an alien supply depot with captured warships. The explosion was visible across multiple sectors, and the coded message they broadcast was designed to be intercepted. Alliance betrayal confirmed, The fake message read, Christine forces preparing to eliminate Velkin fleet after Earth conquest. Recommend immediate defensive measures. The message was encrypted in Drakmori military codes, making it appear authentic. Within minutes, Thexmar received the intelligence through his normal channels. Impossible, Thexmar snarled as he read the report. Kisthara would not dare. But doubt had been planted. Lee watched as the Warlords' paranoia grew. 3,000 years of warfare had taught all 5 leaders that betrayal was always possible. Baek Jiwon worked quickly at the communication console, her fingers flying over alien controls. She planted additional false intelligence. Drakmori plans to claim Earth's resources. Scion schemes to control the other fleets. Forge master calculations that included eliminating biological allies. Each piece of false intelligence was carefully crafted to play on ancient fears and rivalries. The 5-race alliance was new and fragile. It wouldn't take much to shatter it. Almost finished, Baek Jiwon reported. Uploading the final files now. That's when the security alarm started screaming. Intruder alert, the ship's computer announced. Unknown life forms detected in command section. A squad of Velkin warriors burst into the command center, their energy weapons already charging. Lee's team was exposed, caught in the middle of their operation. Now would be good, Lee told Choi Min-hyuk. The explosives expert triggered his charges. Power relays throughout the ship overloaded in cascading failures. Emergency lighting activated as the main systems flickered and died. In the confusion, Lee's team moved like shadows through the darkened command center. Han Yuna's rifle spoke once, twice, 3 times. Alien officers fell with precision shots to vulnerable points in their armor. Yang Kyung-ho moved like a force of nature, his enhanced strength allowing him to crush alien bones with his bare hands. Upload complete, Baek Jiwon announced. The false intelligence is in their system. Time to go, Lee ordered. But Warlord Thexmar blocked their escape route. The massive alien drew his plasma sword, the weapon crackling with deadly energy. You will not leave this ship alive, human. Lee looked at his enemy. Thexmar was 3 times his size, enhanced with biotechnology that made him faster and stronger than any baseline human. The plasma sword could cut through tank armor. Maybe not, Lee replied, drawing his combat knife. But I don't have to kill you. I just have to keep you busy long enough for the false intelligence to do its job. The 2 warriors faced each other in the flickering emergency lighting. Around them, the greatest military alliance in galactic history was about to tear itself apart based on lies and paranoia. And Lee Jinho, former Navy SEAL and mining contractor, was about to face a warlord who had conquered star systems. Warlord Thexmar's plasma sword hummed through the air where Lee's head had been a split second before. The human rolled away, his combat knife seeming pathetic against the alien's advanced weapon. But Lee had learned something important during his years as a Navy SEAL. Sometimes the smaller weapon wins if the person using it is smarter. You cannot defeat Velkin bioenhancement, Thexmar snarled, his 6 eyes tracking Lee's movement. I have conquered 12 star systems. Yeah, Lee replied, dodging another sword strike. But I bet none of them fought dirty. Lee grabbed a damaged power cable from Choi Min-hyuk's sabotage and whipped it toward Thexmar's face. The alien warlord easily blocked it with his sword, but the contact sent electrical feedback through his enhanced nervous system. For just a moment, his reflexes slowed. That moment was enough. Lee drove his knife into the joint where Thexmar's armor met his biosuit. The blade found alien flesh, and green blood spurted across the command center floor. Thexmar roared in pain and anger, swinging his plasma sword in a deadly arc. Lee ducked under the blade and rolled toward the main tactical display. All around them, the battle for the command center continued. His team fought with desperate efficiency against overwhelming odds. Status report, Lee called out while dodging another sword strike. Charges set, Choi Min-hyuk replied, firing his captured alien weapon at advancing guards. Ready to blow this place. Exit route secure, Yang Kyung-ho announced. His enhanced strength allowed him to literally throw alien warriors out of his way. False intelligence fully distributed, Baek Jiwon reported from her position at the communication console. All 5 fleets have received the planted data. Han Yuna's sniper rifle continued its deadly work. Path to the shuttle clear. We need to move now. But Thexmar wasn't finished. The wounded warlord activated an emergency lockdown, sealing all exits from the command center. None of you will escape. I will kill you all personally. Lee looked around the sealed chamber. His team was trapped with hundreds of alien warriors and a very angry warlord. The situation looked hopeless. Then the false intelligence began to work. Incoming transmission, an alien communication officer reported. Overlord Kisthera demands to speak with you immediately. Thexmar activated the holographic display, his plasma sword still aimed at Lee. Kisthera's crystal form appeared, glowing with barely contained energy. You received the intelligence? Report about my supposed betrayal, Kisthera said without preamble. It is obviously false. The question is, who benefits from such lies? Perhaps you seek to eliminate suspicion by claiming innocence, Thexmar replied. The evidence seems clear. Evidence can be fabricated, Clan Chief Mordak interrupted, his scarred face joining the conversation. I have received similar reports claiming the Scions plan to mind control our fleets. Psychological manipulation detected, Forgemaster Unit 01 added its mechanical voice. Probability of coordinated deception, 73.2%. Mind link prime. Zefto spoke for the collective. Our mental probes detect human influence in these communications. The patterns match previous ghost attacks. Lee watched as the 5 warlords argued among themselves. 3,000 years of mutual hatred and suspicion could not be overcome by a few weeks of alliance. Each leader suspected the others of treachery. It matters not, Thexmar declared. We will crush Earth first, then settle our disputes. But even as he spoke, fleet formations began to shift. Captains loyal to different warlords moved their ships into defensive positions. The tight attack formation heading toward Earth started to spread out, as each species protected itself from potential betrayal. Sir, Captain Vextar interrupted. Our escort squadrons report Christine ships powering weapons. They claim it is a defensive measure. On the holographic display, Overlord Kisthera's crystal form pulsed with anger. Your bioships have locked targeting systems on my vessels. Explain this immediately. I gave no such order, Thexmar replied. But Lee could see doubt in the warlord's 6 eyes. The situation spiraled out of control with frightening speed. Centuries of ingrained mistrust overrode logical thinking. When the first shot was fired, nobody knew who started it, but within minutes the greatest military alliance in galactic history was tearing itself apart. Drakmori clan ships opened fire on Scion vessels. Forgemaster war machines targeted Velkan bioships. Christine energy beams lanced through Drakmori armor. The carefully coordinated invasion fleet became a chaotic battlefield. Now, Lee told his team, Choi Minyuk triggered his explosive charges. The power overloads cascaded through the Devastator's systems, opening the sealed blast doors. In the confusion of internal explosions and external battle, Lee's team fought their way toward their shuttle. Thexmar followed them, his plasma sword cutting through his own warriors in his rage to reach the humans. You will not escape. I will have your heads. The running battle moved through the ship's corridors. Alien crew members fled or joined the fight randomly, unsure who was friend or enemy. Emergency alarms screamed throughout the vessel as systems failed, and weapons fire echoed from the hull. Young Kyung-ho held the rear guard, his combat skills allowing him to delay pursuing aliens. Han Yuna's precise shooting cleared their path forward. Baek Ji-won used her technical skills to override security systems and open sealed doors. They reached the hangar bay to find chaos. Alien fighters launched without clearance, fleeing the battle or trying to join it. The Devastator shuddered under weapons fire from its former allies. There, Lee pointed to their disguised shuttle. Go, go, go. His team ran across the hangar bay while debris fell from the ceiling. Behind them, Warlord Thexmar appeared, his armor cracked, and his bio-enhanced body streaming green blood. Face me, human, the Warlord demanded. End this as warriors should. Lee stopped running. His team reached the shuttle and began startup procedures, but he turned to face his enemy one final time. Thexmar was wounded but still dangerous, his plasma sword raised for a killing blow. You want to know how this ends? Lee asked. It ends with you learning something every human knows. We don't fight fair, we fight to win. Lee pulled the activation pin from Choi Min-hyuk's final explosive device. The grenade was designed to breach starship hulls, concentrated enough to punch through the hangar bay's outer wall. "You're insane," Thexmar realized. "The decompression will kill us both." "Maybe," Lee replied, "but I'm betting a Navy SEAL can handle vacuum better than a bio-enhanced alien who's never had to hold his breath." The explosion tore a hole in the hangar bay wall. Atmosphere rushed out into space, carrying debris and smaller objects toward the void. The sudden decompression sent both warriors tumbling toward the breach. Lee had trained for space combat. He knew how to function in vacuum, how to control his movement in zero gravity. Thexmar's bio-enhancements were designed for planetary warfare. In the chaos of decompression, he lost control. The alien warlord tumbled out into space, his plasma sword spinning away into the darkness. Lee managed to grab a support beam and pull himself back toward the shuttle, where his team hauled him aboard through the cargo hatch. "Seal us up and get us out of here," Lee gasped, his lungs burning from the brief exposure to vacuum. The shuttle launched from the dying super dreadnought and fled into hyperspace. Behind them, the Devastator broke apart under combined fire from 4 different alien fleets. Warlord Thexmar, conqueror of 12 star systems, died in the cold vacuum of space. The battle continued for 3 days. When it ended, half of the invasion fleet was destroyed and the other half was scattered across dozens of star systems. The 5-race alliance was finished, dissolved in blood and mutual betrayal. Lee's team returned to Earth to find Admiral Kim Soo-jin waiting with a hero's welcome. The impossible had happened. Humanity had defeated the greatest military force in galactic history without firing a single shot from Earth's defense fleet. "How did you do it?" Admiral Kim asked. "We didn't fight their strengths," Lee explained. "We exploited their weaknesses. Pride, paranoia, 3,000 years of hatred. They defeated themselves." News of the victory spread throughout human space and beyond. The galaxy learned that humans were not primitive savages to be conquered easily. They were warriors who thought differently, fought differently, and never surrendered. 6 months later, Lee stood in the new headquarters of the Stellar Defense Corps, wearing the uniform of its commanding officer. Through the window he could see Earth's expanded shipyards building a new fleet, not to conquer other worlds but to protect human space and those who sought freedom. The alien warlords had ruled through fear and superior technology. Humans would defend through courage and clever thinking. The galaxy was changing, and for the first time in millennia, that change came from the outer rim. In his final report, Lee wrote, "The enemy expected us to bow to their power. Instead, we taught them that true strength comes not from advanced weapons or bio-enhancements, but from the refusal to surrender." In the end, the galaxy's mightiest warlords bowed to something they never understood: the human spirit that fights hardest when the odds are worst. The report concluded with a simple truth that would echo across the stars for generations to come. Humanity had earned its place in the galaxy not through conquest but through courage, not through superior technology, but through superior determination, and in the depths of space. 1 year after the Battle of the 5 Fleets, as historians would later call it, the galaxy was a very different place. Lee Jin-ho stood on the observation deck of humanity's newest space station, watching cargo ships arrive from dozens of star systems. The station orbited Earth's moon, a symbol of humanity's new role among the stars. The ships weren't all human. Refugees from the old galactic order had been arriving for months. Species that had been enslaved by the 5 warlords now sought protection under Earth's growing sphere of influence. They brought stories of liberation and hope. Commander Lee, Admiral Kim Soo-jin, approached with a data pad in her hands. She had been promoted to overall commander of Earth's military forces. The latest reports from the outer sectors. Lee took the pad and read the updates. The Velkan Empire had fractured into dozens of competing clans. Without Warlord Thexmar's leadership, his bio-enhanced warriors fought each other for control. The Christine hegemony had withdrawn to their core worlds, their energy fleets too damaged to maintain control of their territory. The Drekmori clans had returned to their traditional raiding lifestyle, but now they raided each other instead of peaceful colonies. The Scion Collective struggled to maintain mental links across such vast distances without their coordinating fleets. The Forge Masters continued building war machines, but without clear enemies, their robots fought in endless circles. Any word from Oh Hyunwoo's teams? Lee asked. Phantom Command reports successful operations in 7 systems this month. They're helping local populations establish independent governments. Kim Soo-jin smiled. Your friend has become quite the liberation specialist. The Phantom teams had found new purpose after the invasion failed. Instead of conducting sabotage operations, they now helped former slave worlds organize their own defenses. Earth provided technical support and training, but the new governments were truly independent. Captain Park wants to see you, Admiral Kim continued. He has news from the diplomatic corps. Lee found Captain Park Tae-ho in the station's communications center, coordinating with Earth's growing network of allies. Park had been promoted to head of interstellar relations, a job that barely existed before the war. Lee, good timing. Park gestured to a holographic display showing a star map. We just received formal requests for protection from 12 more systems. That brings the total to 47. Can we handle that many commitments? If we're smart about it. Most of these worlds just want to know that someone will help if the old powers try to return. We don't need to station fleets everywhere, just show that we're serious about defending freedom. The strategy was working. Humanity's reputation for fighting impossible odds and winning had spread throughout the galaxy. Former slave worlds saw Earth as a beacon of hope, proof that even the mightiest oppressors could be defeated. There's something else. Park activated another display. We've been monitoring communications from the old imperial capitals. Some interesting developments. The display showed intercepted alien transmissions. Lee read through the translations, his military mind automatically analyzing the intelligence. What he saw made him smile. The 5 former warlords were trying to rebuild their alliance. Representatives from each species had been meeting in secret, planning another invasion of human space. But their communications were full of suspicion and accusations. Each side blamed the others for the previous defeat. They still don't understand what happened, Lee observed. They think it was just bad luck. Which is exactly what we want them to think, Park agreed. Let them plan another invasion. By the time they're ready, we'll be ready too. Earth shipyards worked around the clock building new vessels, but these weren't copies of alien designs. Human engineers had learned from captured technology and developed their own solutions. The new ships were smaller than alien dreadnoughts but faster and more maneuverable. They carried human crews trained in the tactics that had defeated the 5 fleets. More importantly, humanity was no longer alone. The growing alliance of free worlds provided resources, intelligence, and strategic depth that Earth had never possessed before. The next invasion would face not just human defenders, but a coalition united by shared ideals of freedom and independence. Lee received a priority message on his personal communicator. Admiral Kim's voice was urgent. Lee, we need you in the Situation Room immediately. Something big is happening. The Situation Room was crowded with Earth's top military and political leaders. On the main screen, live footage showed a massive fleet emerging from hyperspace in the Proxima system. Hundreds of ships in tight formation, their hulls gleaming with advanced armor and weapons. Falcon design, the intelligence officer reported, but the formation is wrong. They're not moving like an invasion fleet. Lee studied the tactical display. The alien ships had stopped at the edge of the system and were broadcasting on all frequencies. What are they saying? That's the interesting part, the communications specialist replied. They're requesting permission to approach Earth. They want to negotiate. The room fell silent. In 3,000 years of galactic history, the great powers had never negotiated with primitive species. They conquered or ignored, but they never asked permission. It could be a trap, someone suggested. Lee shook his head. No, look at their formation. They're keeping their weapons powered down. This is a diplomatic mission. 2 days later, Lee stood in Earth's newest facility, a space station designed specifically for diplomatic meetings. The station was built in neutral space, equally accessible to human and alien ships. It was humanity's first attempt at formal interstellar diplomacy. The Velkan delegation was led by General Kexmar, Thexmar's younger brother. The alien was smaller than the late warlord but still impressive in his bio-enhanced armor. He approached the negotiating table with visible nervousness. Commander Lee, General Kexmar spoke in heavily accented English. I bring greetings from the Velkan clans and a proposal for peace. I'm listening, Lee replied. The old ways have failed. War between our species brings only destruction. We propose a new relationship. Trade instead of conquest. Cooperation instead of domination. Lee studied the alien general. Kexmar seemed sincere, but Lee's military training made him cautious. What changed your minds? You showed us that strength alone is not enough to rule. Your species fights with something we had forgotten, unity of purpose. Our clans have spent the past year fighting each other while your people helped former slaves build new lives. The negotiations continued for a week. Other alien delegations arrived, representatives from all 5 former powers. Each brought similar proposals: formal recognition of human independence, trade agreements, and mutual defense pacts. The talks were difficult. 3,000 years of imperial thinking didn't change overnight. But slowly agreements took shape. Humanity would not be conquered or ignored. They would be partners, equals in a new galactic order based on cooperation rather than domination. 6 months later, Lee received his final military assignment. Earth's government was restructuring its forces to meet the demands of their new role as defenders of freedom. The Stellar Defense Corps would continue protecting human space and their allies, but it would also serve as a training ground for other species learning to defend themselves. Lee's new job was to establish the Galactic Military Academy on a neutral world in the Centauri system. Former enemies would train together, learning tactics that emphasized cooperation over conquest. Human instructors would teach alien cadets about unconventional warfare, while alien experts shared their advanced technologies. The Academy's motto was simple: victory through unity. It represented everything the old galactic order had failed to understand. On the Academy's opening day, Lee watched as the first mixed class of cadets took their oath of service. Humans, Velkans, reformed Drakmori, even a few Christine energy beings who had broken away from their hierarchical society. Not bad for a former mining contractor, Admiral Kim Soo-jin observed. She had come for the ceremony, along with representatives from dozens of worlds. Lee smiled as he watched young beings who would have been enemies a few years earlier working together as teammates. We've come a long way from that mining station. Where do you think we'll be in 10 years? Kim asked. Lee looked up at the stars visible through the Academy's transparent dome. Somewhere out there, new challenges waited. The galaxy was vast and humanity's influence was still small compared to the old empires. But they had proven something important, that courage and determination could triumph over any odds. Wherever we need to be, Lee replied. Wherever freedom needs defending. The ceremony concluded with the lighting of the eternal flame, a beacon that would burn as long as free beings chose to stand against tyranny. Representatives from 49 worlds participated in the ceremony, each adding fuel from their home systems. As the flame blazed to life, Lee thought about the journey that had brought them here. It had started with a simple mining station attack and a former Navy SEAL who refused to surrender. It had grown into a galactic revolution that toppled empires and freed entire species. The old warlords had believed that power came from advanced technology and overwhelming force. They had learned too late that true power came from something much simpler: the willingness to fight for